Good afternoon, everyone. This is Teacher Dean. Again, this is Teacher Dean. Today we're going to talk about symptoms and remedies. We're talking about symptoms and remedies. Now, let's look at the first slide. The first slide is on headache. Headache. So the first slide is covering headache. Let's look at the second slide. The second slide is showing stomach ache. So if you look at the lady right here, you will see stomach ache. And you look at the man, you'll see also stomach ache. So this is stomach ache, and here is stomach ache. Next slide. Fever. 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 Now, if you notice, when we have a fever, sometimes we have a headache, but we're also taking the temperature. Let me go back to that slide. We're also taking the temperature. Next slide, cough. When you're doing a cough, notice this lady, she's covering her cough and sneezes using her arm. This is the proper way now to do it. Sometimes we do this, but that's not proper anymore. This is the proper way to cover cough and sneezes. Now, same thing with this little boy, covering cough and sneezes. Alrighty, next slide. This is what we call chill. Shh. Right? That's chill. When you're in a cold, you get a chill. That is chills. And sometimes they call us shivers. I'm shivering because I'm cold. Now, let's look at the word shortness of breath. Shortness of breath comes with two things. You can have shortness of breath when you run, like my guy Usain Bolt, right? So you can have shortness of breath when you run. And so he's running, and now this other picture right here is showing him have shortness of breath. Everybody understands? Okay, now, shortness of breath can also be where you can see this lady's holding her chest right here. Shortness of breath, so she's holding her chest. Same thing with this gentleman, holding his chest. He can barely breathe. Right? Can barely breathe. Now let's look at the next slide. Loss of taste. Loss of taste. So what does that mean? It means that he can't taste anything. Nothing at all tasting, right? Smell. Can't smell anything. You can't smell anything. That's loss of smell. Now let's continue. So I covered what we call the symptoms of COVID-19, right? We covered the symptoms of COVID-19. So we covered cough, fever, shortness of breath. We covered I'll remember soon, and I'll go back to them. As a matter of fact, let me just do that. So they are headaches, no stomach ache, fever, cough, chills or shivers, shortness of breath. All right, so we have 2 slides that cover shortness of breath, loss of taste, loss of smell. Now, this slide is going to cover cloth mask. Now, CDC, you're going to hear that word everywhere. CDC says wear mask. CDC says do this, right? So many of you are going to have to, or all of us should be, and all of us must follow CDC guidelines. And what does CDC guidelines says? Use a mask. So I picked out 2 masks. One is an American mask and one is a Jamaican mask. Yes, Teacher Dean is from Jamaica, so I pulled out 2 masks. One is American, one is Jamaican. Now let's look at the next mask. The next mask is for healthcare workers. The next mask is for healthcare workers. So that's the one that the healthcare workers use, but that's not for us. We need to use what? Cloth mask. Cloth mask will be just fine. Now, CDC also have some do's and don'ts for everyone. CDC has some do's and don'ts for everyone. Now, the first thing is, and you can read with me, make sure you can breathe through. Again, make sure you can breathe through it. That means when you have the mask, you can make sure you can breathe through it. Now it says, wear it whenever going out in public. Mean, wear it outside. Wear it on the street. Wear it to supermarket. Wear it outside homes. Because some of us live in apartments. Wear it outside. Everybody understands? Make sure it covers your nose and mouth. Make sure it covers your nose and mouth. So for those who don't know what their nose and mouth is, let's go back to that. Nose, this is a nose. This is a mouth, this part, right? Make sure it covers your nose and mouth. Everybody understands? All right. Let's look at don't. No. Don't do. Okay? Don't use for kids. No kids under 2 years old. No kids under 2 years old. 2 years old, okay? So that is what it says here. No kids under 2 years old. Now, don't use surgical masks or other protective gear intended for healthcare workers. So, okay, don't use surgical masks or other PPE intended for healthcare workers. Thank you. Have a wonderful day, everyone, and see you tomorrow.